Since the war began on February 28th, the U.S. has enforced a crippling naval blockade against Iran. Alongside that wall of warships, billions of dollars in Iranian assets remain frozen abroad, creating severe economic pressure on Tehran. But there is a potential shift in the standoff. A high-level Iranian delegation has landed in Doha, Qatar, for talks mediated by Pakistan. The presence of senior officials at the table, including Foreign Minister Abbas al-Naqji, indicates that Tehran is prioritizing these specific negotiations. While state media in Tehran still describes the frozen funds as U.S. obstructionism, the arrival of this delegation follows an admission from the Iranian Foreign Ministry that the differences between the two sides are starting to shrink. The draft framework relies on several mechanical pillars. First, reopening the Strait of Hormuz to pre-war shipping levels within 30 days, parallel to the U.S. lifting its blockade. Second, a broader regional ceasefire, which explicitly requires an end to the fighting between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon. Then there is the most sensitive demand. The U.S. requires Iran to surrender its stockpile of highly enriched weapons-grade uranium. The current proposal offers a 60-day window following the initial ceasefire to resolve how to handle that material. The options include downblending the uranium inside Iran or transferring the entire stockpile to Russia. On paper, this 60-day timeline creates a logical blueprint for peace. In reality, the process is currently held back by three distinct bottlenecks. The first obstacle is a matter of scope. President Trump recently warned that any treaty must be a great deal for all or no deal at all. He added a massive new condition, expanding the Abraham Accords. He wants 6 new nations, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Egypt, Jordan, and Turkey, to normalize relations with Israel. This forces a bilateral ceasefire to carry the weight of a pan-Arab diplomatic revolution. By expanding the scope from a two-party military truce to a massive regional pact, the U.S. has significantly increased the points of failure for the entire deal. The second bottleneck is back home in Washington. The executive branch's deal is facing fierce resistance from Capitol Hill. Hardline Republicans are pushing back on the terms, with Senator Lindsey Graham expressing deep concern over the concessions being offered to Tehran. Their core argument is that granting Iran a 60-day transition window to handle its nuclear stockpile is too dangerous and risks undoing the military gains achieved since February. Even if negotiators finalize an agreement in Qatar, the blueprint faces the threat of being rejected by domestic U.S. politics. The third bottleneck is in Tehran. The ultimate decision-maker is Iran's supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei. Following the opening strikes of the war, he relocated to a heavily fortified, undisclosed location, apparently in an effort to avoid U.S. and Israeli surveillance. To maintain security, he has implemented a total ban on electronic communication. This means every draft proposal from Doha has to travel by hand, navigating a slow, intricate labyrinth of physical couriers. The high-speed stakes of nuclear weapons and naval blockades are currently being slowed by the pace of foot traffic. The effort to end the war now relies on 3 separate volatile fronts: sweeping regional diplomacy, internal political resistance, and the logistical limits of the Iranian leadership. On paper, a permanent cessation of hostilities is tangibly close. The mechanics are drafted, and a blueprint for peace exists. But that blueprint is caught between Washington's regional ambitions and the physical isolation of the leadership in Tehran. Until the high-speed demands of modern warfare can synchronize with the slow crawl of a leader in hiding, the U.S.-Iran standoff will remain unresolved.